So welcome all. Dr. Felix, I mean, he will be joining shortly, let's say in a minute or so. So we just have to look for a while. He's joining shortly. And welcome, Malka sir. We are happy to have your presence over here.
Yes, welcome. Welcome, Rohit sir.
So dear all, we are happy to introduce you that Dr. Felix from University of Oxford, he has joined this meeting and we are very happy to have his presence over here. So Dr. Felix, I mean, if comfortable, could you switch on your video?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, good evening. I'm just trying to turn the camera on. There we are. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me and see me okay?
So good day, Dr. Felix. So welcome from SRES, SCOE, Sanjivani Society, SPPU Pune Fraternity. We are one of the core 14 college of Pune University. and we are very happy to have your presence over here. And we are also having the presence of our director, sirs. We are having his blessings. We are having the presence of our, humble head of department, Professor V.R. Malkar, sir. And before moving anything ahead, let me introduce a brief about Dr. Minto Felix. Dr. Minto, he is presently a senior researcher at Oxford University. He is pursuing his advanced research on investigating research culture in Indian universities. And our today interview is again focused on the same, especially referring the public universities and its collaboration. He is also senior consultant to few firms, including the Norse Group London. He has served as the senior strategic advisor and policy and communication advisor to Monash University, Australia, and editor at Wonke, UK think tank. And after his education from Oxford, he also had many other awards as such. He had been CEOs to many leading global NPOs. And I am thankful to Professor A.G. Thakur, director of this SRES Society, Professor V.R. Malkar, our humble head of department, for their humble support to MRC and this initiative. Now I invite Dr. Malkar to come on the dais and introduce about our organization and department for a while.
Yeah, hello, Minto. It's nice to have interactions with you. Let me introduce our Sanjivani group of institutions. We have around 10,000 plus students are there in the campus, having an polytechnic college, which is offering the various diploma courses, Sanjivani College of Engineering, where we offer mechanical, civil, electrical, electronics and computer engineering, structural engineering, mechatronics. Then we have a management department which offer a Bachelor of Business Administration, Master of Business Administration. We have pharmacy where we offer the diploma in pharmacy, then post-graduation in pharmacy. Then we have a science college also, and we have an international schools also under the group of institutions. And it is well established brand in the year 1983. And since last 40 years, we have got so many recognition at national and international level. So we have an research collaborations with University of Lethbridge, Canada, Poznan University, Poland. Then we have an NW University, South Africa. Recently, we have an collaborations with one of the Russian university also. So these are some of the international connect we have. And we have in India also, we have lots of connections in IITs and IIMs on research, on students and faculty exchange program also. So this is just a brief about our group of institutions.
Great, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. So many thanks to Dr. Malkar and Dr. Felix for being there, and Dr. Malkar for the introduction to the institution. Now we are coming back to our course schedule. So starting with the interview process. So having some discussion on that objective of this today's meeting. So we are having a discussion on research culture in Indian public universities, and especially focusing on the collaborations. So Dr. Felix, what do you think about the research culture in Indian public universities and India at large, as you also had research?
Okay, sure. So I should say, by way of introductions, almost all of those details were correct, except for one. So I'm a consultant at NOUS Group, yes, and I have done all of those roles. But I'm actually doing my PhD at the moment, so I'm not yet. I'm not yet finished my PhD. So I'm a PhD. I just want to make it clear. I'm a second-year PhD scholar at Oxford, investigating research culture in Indian higher education. So I just want to make that point. The second thing is to say that my research so far has focused on research culture within universities in Delhi. So my master's thesis looked at research culture across a range of universities, institutions, the IITs, private universities in Delhi. And through my PhD, I'm looking at research culture in 2 regions within Maharashtra and also within Tamil Nadu. And I'm looking at research culture within disciplines, within particular disciplines and particular institutions. So the disciplines that I'm focusing on are computer engineering, biomedicine and history. And I'm looking at the experience of researchers in these fields in public, as you've just said, public comprehensive university, a private university, and a specialist public institution. So the IITs, for example. So those are the groups of institutions and groups of disciplines. I'm also interviewing people that work in government, so people that work for DST or MHRD and other sort of agencies. But I make these points to just make it clear that I'm certainly the insights, any insights or any discussion that we have, I don't want to, I guess, convey a perspective that is the view of Indian public universities at large, because India is a big country. You know, there's so many different states, so many different variations in, you know, demography and geography and political system, that really what I can only offer is the research culture as I am observing it in the universities that I'm interviewing. So with those conditions in mind, I'll proceed ahead and provide some brief thoughts. I think there are 3 main ideas I would like to share with you today. One is, I think, that research culture, regardless of whether it's a public university, a private university, or a public specialist institution, as I'm sure you all know, it is mediated by the discipline. So the way of working within computer engineering is very different to the way of working in biomedicine, the way of working in history. And one of the things that I found really interesting is that within certain institutions, you not only have those particular norms and ways of working in disciplines, but some of those ways and norms of working are really encouraged. And maybe other disciplines, they are, not to say they're less encouraged, they have less access to resources or less access to facilities, less access to libraries, so on and so forth. So for example, it seems to me that a lot of the investment in resource and a lot of the kind of tradition and focus in building research capability, including within public universities, is really within the kind of biomedicine and also the kind of computer engineering discipline. So that's, you know, of the disciplines that I'm working with, I certainly see a lot more activity, a lot more encouragement, a lot of resource being directed to those fields, but perhaps less so to the fields of, say, history. And, you know, I've also interviewed those that work in, you know, other kind of humanities and social science disciplines, such as sociology or political science, and they report not having, you know, access to, you know, some of these resources or kind of instrumentation that their colleagues in biomedicine and computer engineering have access to. The second idea that I think I want to really impart is the style of management and kind of leadership that exists within these universities. So within a public specialist university, where there's generally a higher level of resource and higher degree of familiarity with research, it appears to me that that there's actually more leaders in research, but at the same time, simultaneously, that individual department heads, individual researchers are more, you know, pursue those roles more. So it's both a distributed leadership model, and also there are more designated leaders of research. So for example, deans of research or directors of research, so on and so forth. Whereas in public universities, there seems to be significantly perhaps less maturity around what those roles are for, how they should be enacted, and kind of really empowering those roles to foster a research culture. The final idea that I perhaps will convey is that public universities are really, really important because of the large volume of students that they enroll. So I think to take a system view, to take an Indian-wide view, public universities have a really important role to play, I think, in encouraging research through undergraduate training, through undergraduate skills development, you know, undergraduate research projects, so on and so forth. So those are the initial 3 ideas that I might put forward.
So So yes, Dr. Felix, I mean, I duly understand that not only having the research experience, but you have a very rich experience, I mean, to managing the Monash University, recommending the strategy as a whole to the Monash University, that is a reputed international university. Again, you are working in collaboration with Oxford. So these two leading universities of globe, you know your best, I mean, that how to manage an organization, how it should be excellent in case of research activity, and we duly noted your suggestions in regard of research and other initiative within the university system. We have some limitation in India, but again, we are working our best to overcome those limitations and maintaining the Indian tradition as well. Since I mean, unless and otherwise we are, I mean, in join to our roots, we are the best.
Mm.
We go global. We learn all the good things, I mean, from the good people like you, like Yorkford, and many other leading professors. I mean, professor from Princeton, she's also joining us in October at our campus. So that's a will also be very nice, I mean, to have all the insights. But again, your insights are also very useful. We'll make a note of it and for future development. So moving ahead with the process. So now, under your insights and understanding, how do you think that how efficient and successful these public universities are at large in motivating the research culture, not only India, South Asia, Asia as such?
Mm.
What do you think?
Again, very big question, very, very big question. There's, so many public universities in Indian higher education, and again, the role of state, as in the state system and the regional context, all of those things mean that we're talking about a large number of universities. But I think, as I just mentioned, and perhaps I can build on it further, thinking about the public university system, this is where as you would all know best, the vast majority of students go. And so in terms of cultivating that research mentality, that research ethos, it really has to start at the undergraduate level. And I think that in some respect, it also is about the secondary school system, and secondary school system encouraging critical thinking, exposing students to ideas of research. It's not just the role of universities, but I think that public universities can do a lot more to motivate young researchers through their curriculum. So one of the things that I've been hearing a lot about that is about practice that works very well, regardless of, again, whether it's a public or a private university, is that undergraduate students in their final year do a research project. They do a kind of a research project. They develop the skills in critical thinking, in communication, in analysis, in all of those kinds of methods that exposes them to ideas of research, that gives them, oh, this is what research is like, and this is how it can be beneficial. I think the other thing that is perhaps very urgently needed, and in fact, I was speaking to an academic in a university in Tamil Nadu, who spoke about in Tamil Nadu, the sports people are celebrated, the celebrities, are celebrated, but what about the scientists? Where are the role models? Where are the role models for young people, for young students, to see that, okay, this is what a researcher does. This is how they contribute to society. This is how they work. And so I think we need to build more role models and then make those role models really visible for undergraduate students, and celebrate them within the university. Celebrate research scholars. I think that we do a lot to celebrate other types of leaders. And we probably celebrate, donors within universities, don't we? Or, other people that are, ministers, whatever. But actually to expose students to researchers of many backgrounds. I mean, you've just mentioned that you've got a visitor from Princeton coming. That's fantastic. So how can that visitor, be in the hearts and minds and at the forefront of young researchers? I think the other thing that I've been thinking, that I've been hearing through my research, and this is a comment that PhD students and postdocs have raised with me, is that they have mentioned a desire to access networks of support. So they said often they feel very alone You know, they feel very alone, that they're the only ones doing research in their they're one scholar in one department in one public university. But what they want is to be able to see alumni, you know, past students, how have they done their research? You know, what have they gone on to do, and have a regular source of link to them. So for example, for me as a PhD student, I have regular access to my peers, to of course my supervisors, but also to people that have done this project, you know, or this path before me. So, you know, I regularly speak to a student that's in the year ahead of me, and I can seek their advice, seek their support. So those strategies I think are really important in motivating researchers. And I think, of course, lastly, money. You know, you need money, don't you, to be able to spend and invest in research laboratories, research, you know, libraries, all of those kinds of activities.
Yes. So yes, Dr. Felix, we duly recognize your insights based upon your hard research work you had throughout the globe, and especially on the Indian universities. But yes, I duly mentioned that we at Savitribai Phule Pune University and this SCOE also, we are taking very much initiatives to our research motivation as such. This UGC Care initiative, it has been, respected by that US Higher Education Commission and many other international bodies. And this initiative has been led by our Savitribai Phule University under the flagship of MHRD Government of India. Again, Savitribai Phule University, it is working with Texas Instruments as well as University of California, Berkeley, again in the USA. So, I mean, we are having different initiative for international collaboration and hence motivating the research. And that's how our university, it is ranked second in the traditional universities in India, how innovative the university is. But again, we have to learn a lot. I mean, we are Oxford of India and we have to go global. We are already in top 500, but we have to move ahead. We have a lot to learn from Oxford. We have a lot to learn from Princeton. University of Malaya is our neighbor, that is among top 100. So we have to come in the league. So we have to learn it also. So your insights are very useful, and we at our place also, whenever we meet the university authority, we do suggest to them as well on these aspects. So further moving to our program. So let me also again introduce to some of the programs opted by our university as well as this SCOE. So at our university, Savitribai Phule Pune University, they had settled up a specialized research park under the due funding and support of Government of India, Ministry of Education as well as Ministry of Commerce and other related ministries. They are working on relevant projects on this research park itself, and it's contributing a lot to the success of Western India as well as Maharashtra as a whole. And in future, it will work much ahead. So even in our SCOE, we are working on an incubation center. So plan is on process. Shortly, we will be incubation center. We are already having management research center where we are opening shortly the case research center as well. So what do you think? I mean, such sort of initiative in Indian universities, I mean, how successful or how helpful they are? And can we also have some international collaboration? I like with yours and with some other international university for such initiative. Pune University, they already have. But for some sectional initiative, whether we can have the international collaboration, we already have some in our hand. I mean, within Asian and this Middle East, even that some of the European countries, we are in touch. So we are having some collaboration. But what about with the Oxford, the Watson, Rochester as such? What we can think about?
Oh, I see. Okay, great. Well, it's wonderful that it's absolutely wonderful and necessary that you are pursuing global collaborations. Again, from my research, the best kinds of collaborations are those that are, you know, discipline led. So groups of researchers identifying opportunities with other researchers on similar problems, shared projects, and working together to, you know, to solve those, problems, and then to be able to seek funding or support. So, you know, that's how I've seen it happen best. in Australia when I was working at Monash. That's how I've seen it best working here in the UK. And also, you know, my own research shows that. In terms of specific collaboration opportunities, you know, there are the right channels to follow. I mean, I'm a student. I'm just a student, so I can't be of personal help. But you know, obviously, Oxford has a pro vice chancellor research. They have research, you know, within my own department. There is a deputy director of research. So really making, I would suggest that, you know, if you are, depending on what discipline you're wanting to build a collaboration around, that you would approach the director and deputy directors of research within those particular departments. They would be the people to help you and to explore opportunities.
Yes. So that's okay. So I mean, as per your given inputs, we will plan upon the things and we will come up with a formalized draft to say. So I mean, again, extending that talk. So you spoken upon international collaboration at large as well as specifically. So again, specifically coming that, I mean, what do you think about specific collaboration of NOS, Wolfson, or Oxford with SCOE, SPPU? How we can work on and on what aspects we can work on in addition to research?
Right. Well, again, I'm, as I say, I am a student. So I cannot identify the particular opportunities for you. You know, as I said, you will have to contact the particular leadership people. You know, the people that work in. I'm not sure how you found my profile. For example, maybe you just searched on the Oxford page. But if you were to go back on that page and or in other departments, so you found me through Department of Education, but there's many different departments, as you would know. So I suppose you would have to identify which department is relevant for the type of collaborations that you're wanting to pursue. NAUS is a firm. It's not a university. And Wolfson is a college. I'm not sure if Wolfson. So Wolfson is the college that I belong to. And I'm not sure if Wolfson in and of itself does its own research collaborations, but again, it would be something to ask the Wolfson Management Committee, if that makes sense.
Okay, we'll consider it all and we'll come up with the things accordingly.
Okay.
So that's all about your suggestion. Thank you for all your inputs in this regard. So we'll come up with the things and come according. So before closing on the session, so I would like to ask some of the faculty members, including our Professor Malkar, if he has any views or any queries regarding the present discussion we are having. So please come in with your, I mean, queries, questions, or any other aspects you wish to mention. Dr. Malkar, please come on.
Yeah, Minto, you had rightly pointed out some of the areas where we can work together, and higher authorities in concerned department have a, you can connect to Rohit so that we have an initiate talk with them also with the collaborations. And let me add, we have an under our group of institutions, we have a rural place of India, where we are doing so many agricultural activities and research. So from agro-processing units we had established in and around, which enhance the rural development of our community or our area. So in that also, so many researchers had come here to research them, how this economical model works out. We have a sugar factory, we have an milk processing units, we have an food processing unit, vegetable processing units. So these kinds of add-on also there. So industrializations also can add some value and some further research in that area to increase the products portfolio in there, and even in the area of marketing, finance, operations, like that. Also one of the area where if you have an interest, you can plan to visit to our institute.
Yes.
You are invited so that we can physically interlinked with each others, and you can communicate to our students about your research area. We have an engineering branch of computer engineering, so where you can share your expertise also. So on behalf of our group of institutions, we'll have some invitations from our side. If you plan further, if you have any plan to come in India, so our institutions are welcome for the visit.
Thank you very much. It's very generous of you, very kind remarks. All the best with your endeavors. Thank you again. Okay, bye.
Okay, Rohit, we'll conclude the meeting. Rohit sir, we conclude the meeting then. Vishal sir, shall we conclude, or I think Rohit is not able to.
Already Felix is left, so we can conclude. Yeah.
Rohit?
Hello, Rohit sir.
Your mic is off.
So I mean, Dr. Minto, he left the meeting. So I mean, it's our humble thank for him having in the meeting. So I mean, I am very happy to announce that we are coming up with a collaboration MOU signing with Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. So I am very happy to tell that we are about to finalizing the MOU draft. And afterwards, we will be having a MOU signed with a departmental center with this management research center under the brand department of MBA. So that's a very good news to share upon. And we will again come ahead with new innovation as such. So once again, thanks to Dr. Minto, our patrons, Dr. Malkar, Dr. Thakur, and the organizing committee as a whole, as well as all the facilitating people and the participants. Good day to all, and that's my closer to the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rohit. Nice initiative.
Thank you, Rohit sir.
Yes. Any input or feedback from the participants?
Very nice initiative you taken, sir.